Hi, I'm Milena. Welcome back to my channel. October is like, I think, the most exciting month on BookTube because we have spooky season. I often kind of feel with spooky season, but not this year. This year it is going to be everything witchy for me. And next to spooky season we also have Victober, in which I participate every year. Today I will start with the TBR board rules and then I will get into the Victober prompt. Hopefully I can fit some books that I have picked for the TBR board for Victober, because Victorian literature are usually chunky books, so I am not really feeling adding a ton load of books to my TBR, so hopefully I can bubble up a little bit. I do also have the black mini classics, which a lot of them are Victorian literature. Those are only 50 pages. I think I can make Victober work this year. I've also planned some vlogs. I have planned a spooky vlog and I have planned a Victober vlog. So all fun things to come in October. As far as book club reads go, our book club read for October and November for the Hobbits book club I will save for November so I can read it closer to the live show. Our book for the Bronte Long I have saved for this month because it's of course Victorian literature, and that is Eliot by Charlotte Bronte. So this I am definitely going to read this month. I know that it fits one of the Victober prompts, so that is awesome. Our book club read for the Dutch Classics book club will be Jamaica Inn by Daphne du Maurier. I do think this will fit like spooky vibes. It's set at Jamaica Inn and I think it's a very spooky and mysterious place. Daphne du Maurier always has some spooky vibes, so I think I can use it for that vlog. So as always, the rules of TBR board are in the description down below if you want to have a little browse around. But without further ado, let's do the first rule. Last month I ended on a modern classic, so let's do the first rule. It's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is perfect for Victober because that's a classic that's at least 100 years old. The first rule was a book that's at least 100 years old, and of course I can use Eliot for that. This will be one of our last Bronte Long books. We only have the Professor after this. I had a mixed feelings about Shirley and I hope that I will enjoy Eliot more. This will also have its own vlog. This video is just basically a vlog announcement video. So yes, one book club read down. Rule number 2. It's 1, which is a modern classic. Rule number 2 was a modern classic. Just perfect. That means I can fit in Jamaica Inn. This is a book from 1937, so I guess it does kind of fit the modern classic genre. I usually just think anything 20th century literature is a modern classic. Rule number 2. Rule number 3 is a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh my gosh, are we just getting only genres again? This is a contemporary. Rule number 3 was contemporary, and I really want to read a contemporary witchy romance. Do not have the best of experience with those because the ones I read last year I didn't love. I have been scrolling through script. I have made a list of all contemporary kind of romance or middle grade Halloweeny witchy books. The book that I'm thinking I want to definitely put on my TBR is Practical Magic because I've heard people talk about it. This is written by Alice Hoffman and I think it is about a group of witches who are immortal, so I think it spans over multiple centuries but also in our current day. I didn't know this book was from the 90s, so it's not really contemporary, but it's contemporary enough. I don't know how I feel about this, but I will definitely read a contemporary witchy book. I'm going to put this one for now on here. It's on script, but I might switch it out if some of you recommend me a better one. But for now, Practical Magic it is. Rule number 4 is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my gosh, this is so boring. Rule number 4 was another book that's at least 100 years old, which is just working out for Victober. And this I actually already put on my Victober TBR. I'm going to put it for this front as well. And that is Daniel de Ronda by George Eliot. It's so big and I feel that I might be a little bit stupid to put this on a set monthly TBR. It has 800 pages. Now I love Middlemarch, which has 1,000, but that took me weeks. So I don't know. If I also read Eliot, if I can finish this, maybe I will need November as well to read this. But this is my next George Eliot I want to read. I'm a big fan of George Eliot. We're just going to do it. We're going to do it. Rule number 5 is a 2, 1, 2 is a TBR card, which is book published in your birth year. So I need to find a book from 1994. Roll number 5 was a TBR card, which was book published in your birth year. And I seriously had only one option for my whole own TBR, which I think is still kind of lucky considering there are 80 books on my TBR, a lot of which were published like in the last 10 years, and I'm clearly a bit older than that. So I was born in 1994 and I have one book that was written in 1994, which is In Time After Butterflies by Julia Alvarez. This is historical fiction. It is set in the Dominican Republic in the 1960s. Yes, I think it is about 4 sisters. I think they were called the Mabel sisters. It is based on historical fact because they opposed the dictatorship of Trujillo. Published in my birth year, so I was happy that I was able to find something. Alright, roll number 6, which is our final roll, is a 2, 1, 2, so that is from my top 20 classics list. The last roll was a 20 tile and this tile is for top 20 classics list. Now I made a video about the top 20 classics I want to read, so I'm going to grab my phone, do random number generator, and we'll see if that is the book I'm going to read. I have read quite a bit on that list already, so I may have to re-roll. We'll see. I will record my screen. Okay, so 1 out of 20. Generate 17. Okay, let's see which one that is. So book number 17 is A Voyage in the Dark by Toni Morrison. I think you can classify this as also fiction about Toni Morrison, her time growing up in the Caribbean and moving to the United Kingdom when she was, I think, around 18 years old. People have told me that Wars Across the Sea is quite a unique book within Toni Morrison, her repertoire, so I'm hoping I will like it just as much. Okay, I am not mad about it because it's really thin, so me having Daniel Deronda and Eliot will give me like a better chance to fulfill this TBR. I don't think this will fit for Victober. No, this is much newer. Yes, this is published in 1934. So I already told you kind of what it is about. It's about Toni Morrison, her time as a teen in the Caribbean and later when she moved to London. This was not really on my radar to want to read very soon, but well, the TBR board has spoken. So on my TBR board, they're quite heavy and big. I have these 5 books and of course the Practical Magic Witchy Contemporary, which I think I'm going to need because these are all like classics or like modern classics, so it's a bit of a hefty TBR. Now let's head to more classics for the Victober readathon. Victober is this year hosted by a lot of new people, many of which I know, some of which I didn't know, and all of them have come up with a prompt. I'm going to try to do them all, but of course that's quite ambitious. They do have a group book, which I do own, which is The Mayor of Casterbridge by Thomas Hardy. Considering my already existing TBR, there's like a 5% chance I will get to this, but probably like saving it for next Victober. I will link an announcement video of Victober in the description down below so you can check it out if you want to join. I would highly recommend that you do. My 2 Victorian novels that are already on my TBR board. Like I said, I did already put George Eliot on my Victober TBR because it was in Kate's from Kate House recommendation video for Disability Rep, which was her prompt, so I'm going to use Daniel Deronda for that. Then Katie's prompt was a buildings roman, which I think Eliot fits because I think we meet her through multiple years as she grows as a teacher, and I think buildings romans are very often about people in their 20s just figuring everything out. So I think this fits. I think so. So that is 2 prompts down. There's also a poetry prompt, which I really want to reread Emily Bronte's poetry. I've read this about 2 years ago. I was blown away by it, but I understood very little of it. So I'm going to give it another attempt, see if I understand more of it, but at least I know I will enjoy it. That is a mini classic I will read for the poetry prompt. Then the prompt for short stories. I'm going with like a second chance author. An author I didn't really like the first time around. I'm just thinking, he's American, so it's not Victorian. I was thinking of reading Henry James, but isn't Henry James American? Okay, so Henry James is American, so we're going to look for another one. Okay, I think I'm just taking you to the mini classics. Let's find some short stories by a Victorian. So Henry James is going back right here. Like I would of course go for Elizabeth Gaskell, but I've read that one already. Thomas Hardy, that one I've read. Robert Louis Stevenson, that is creepy as well. Okay, I don't know if he was American or British. Okay, I think this could work. Yes, Robert Louis Stevenson was a Victorian. I have read Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, which this is also kind of spooky. So works for both things I want to do. Stevenson's chilling Victorian Gothic novella about decaying aristocracy, vampirism and tormented love. Ooh, it's a novella. Well, I'm just going to count it for a short story. Novella, short story, somewhere in between. It's only 50 pages. The last front is Petra's front, and that is to read a book and then watch an adaptation. Because of my already quite fast TBR, and I don't want to overwhelm myself. So I'm going to slightly cheat, because on my September TBR there was also a Victorian novel, which is Cranford by Elizabeth Gaskell. I have not read this yet, but I'm sure I will get to it this month. And I do know that this has an adaptation with Judi Dench. And I just really want to watch that adaptation. I haven't been able to get my hands on it yet, but that's going to be a goal for October. So I want to watch that adaptation, even though I will probably read this in September. Just going to count it because I will watch the adaptation in October. So I'm starting Victober a little early, which there's nothing wrong with that. For Victober, I only have to add these two to my TBR, which feels very doable. I'm looking forward to this month's TBR, even though it is quite big and it doesn't have a lot of variation, which I do usually really appreciate. So I think there's a big chance I'm going to listen to a lot of Halloween-y, light-hearted romance things on script, and next to this beautiful pile of books. Let me know what your goals are for October. Are you going on spooky train, or are you going to read Victober, or like me, are you going to try and combine it? Because there's nothing better than a spooky classic. Thank you so much for watching this TBR board video. If you enjoyed it, then I would love it if you would consider subscribing. For now, I hope that you have a lovely day or evening, and I hope to see you in another video. Doei!